Yep, cool. So you are in the Mastering Local Biz Google Ads Management training today. If you were expecting something else, you're in the wrong place. But you know, you'll learn something, so you might want to stick around. But yeah, this is, I mean, as it says on the screen, this is our battle-tested strategy. It's what we live and what we do day in and day out. And this wasn't just built by like myself or Avi, just from like the top level view. This was going really into the weeds with the folks on the actual fulfillment team. A lot of them are actually in listening to the call today as well, because they all really contributed to this. So this was a awesome group effort, and we are very excited to share everything we came up with today.
All right, a little bit about me. This is the same slide. I'm still the same CEO of this company. And of course, we should add somewhere here our PPC review. Oh, yeah. I've not updated that. So, which you'll hear a little bit about it. So it's yet another tool we launched, or yet not yet tool we launched. But otherwise, yes, focused on local service ads is a big deal for us. And that's what InvisiblePPC is about. So that's me. And easy to reach me at just easy, avi@invisibleppc.com works. All right.
Yep, and that's me. I'm Justin Rondeau. If you don't know who I am, most of you probably do on this call because you came here generally from our list. But if you came here from our LinkedIn event, thank you so much for joining as well. I'm the president and co-owner of InvisiblePPC. Again, white label PPC for agencies, really focusing and specializing in the local service space. My LinkedIn's there. Reach out. I'm fairly active there, and I love getting connecting with people and chatting about all things like marketing, agency related, or SaaS. So we'd love to talk about those things, and very easy to remember email address as well, Justin@InvisiblePPC. And we covered this already, but just wanted to let you know a little bit more about what we do as a service before we dive in. We are done for you white label service. We're celebrating, this is our 11th year, so we'll be able to update that shortly going into next year, which is nice since we're already in midway through Q4. You manage the client's relationship and billing. We take care of the rest. We do all of your ad management, from campaign architecture to landing page to the regular optimizations throughout the month. So if you are thinking about either adding PPC services or you're looking to get out of the fulfillment trap, we should be chatting, and you can reach out. There'll be a link on the screen in a second to reach out to one of the members of our team, Anna. If you want to get on our calendar before the new year, that would probably be a good thing, so we can make sure that you're ready to hit January hard. Awesome.
So, do you want to cover this, Justin?
I think you can take it from here.
Yeah, take it from here. All right. So, because this is a very, very deep and broad topic, and we wanted to go deep, so we will set some boundaries that where we're going deep, and that you'll see it in the next slide. But generally, we are focusing on local service search ads. So that's specifically what we talk about. We'll, why you need to manage. We'll talk a little bit about that tech stack, which you need to manage, how often, what task you do. We do have a checklist, and there is a strategic framework. In our checklist, it refers to Avi's strategic framework. So if you see in a checklist line item, Avi's framework, that's what that is. That's something which we developed over our last 2 years to do some strategic work when trying to figure out what's wrong with a Google account. And we will go through some examples. And also, this is one of the things which comes up enough with ads nowadays, even more. How do you deal with spam? All kinds of spams.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Okay. So because it is very broad, I already said this, we're going to focus on Google search ads for local service businesses. That's very specific. Again, to get the environment and ecosystem set up here. These are the kind of different ad types Google supports. We are focusing on search here. This point, not the other ones. Other way to look at search is, this is a very different way of presenting the same data that search is used for sales, lead generation, and website traffic. Those are the three things search really works well for. Okay. So here is this. Sometime it comes up. Somebody's not worked much with Google Ads. He says, hey, I've got a great setup. And in fact, maybe I attended your webinar, last one, and you showed us how to perfectly set up an account. Why do I need to manage? It's all set up. Everything's running, right? So if you don't care about results, yeah, absolutely right. You don't have to do anything. Just keep it running. Just set the budget and let it go. But the reality is, it's a very active process. After you set up, there is ongoing optimizations. First 90 days, quite a lot. After that, it does come down a little bit, but there is work continuously, and we'll show you exactly how, where, what timing you need to do this work. So this is the other one which we have heard a few times, that I'm sure many of you have been hit by Google ad representative reaching out to you and saying that, hey, we can help you with the ads, right? And it's free. So let me tell you this, that Google's advice, we have noticed consistently, 60 to 80%. The reason this number 60 to 80% is not a guess. It's based on if they give you 5, we kind of try to measure how many of those recommendations. And consistently, what we notice that 3 or 4 of them are all about increasing budget in some way that you spend more money, right? It's not about getting better for you, right? And so that's one thing. And also the reason we can say this with confidence is almost 3/4 of our account managers and ad specialists, they are ex-Google employees who were actually the ones who were calling people to help them. So we do know from inside information that what Google is trying to do there. So just it does not mean that advice is bad, but you got to really watch it. What part is helping Google versus what is helping the small business? In fact, I did get this article published very recently at USA Wire, where basically the link is here, but here's the article: why Google is not your friend if you're a small business. Google is optimized for very large businesses when they directly work with them. For small businesses, they're just trying to stay there, manage the house. Google is the house, so they control the house, right? So, and we all know about DOJ lawsuit right now against Google for how they manage. So just watch out for what Google tells you. It's their ecosystem, they control it. So they many times do it in a way that it benefits them versus advertiser. So probably does not come as a surprise for anybody who's been doing Google ads for some time. So what do you get? So this is the case, hey, why you cannot just, so what is the goal of Google Ads management? So in higher level, if you look at it, one is managing budget, of course. You want to, there is usually with Google Ads, you're doing the lead ads for service business, there is a target CPA. You want to achieve the target or below target. And there is also, target CPA is usually not enough. They also want some, almost every customer says, I need so many leads per month I can have. So the number of leads is also important. And they are related. You can get very low CPA for very few leads. As you go higher for leads, you have to start capturing bigger part of the market. The CPA starts increasing. So that's one of the things, a balancing act there. You want to monitor what is happening in competition. And first 90 days, as I pointed out, is very, very important because that's where the account buildup happens. Any fine tuning, and not only finding competition, you got to address competition depending on what they start throwing at you, right? Seasonality, as the seasons change, the ad bidding and other things have to change, and it will impact your business. Any performance issues, bad leads, too few leads, what's going on with that? This is all part of Google Ads management. So it's an ongoing activity. So if you, in one phrase, if you will, improve current performance without overpaying for ads, that's the goal of management every month. So tech stack. So one on left is Google tools, which you got to use to do ads console, ads, keyword planner, automation scripts for tracking, tag manager, Looker Studio. We use Looker Studio for reporting. You could use something else, but Google's Looker Studio is pretty good for this. In addition, the dark bold is what we use. You could use something else, but these are the ones we use at InvisiblePPC. For landing page builder, you need some kind of a landing page builder, which should support A/B testing. We use swipe pages. You got to use some kind of heat maps to track how people behave on the landing page, especially in the beginning. If there is a call is important, then you need some kind of a call tracking system so you can call and record every call and see. You need something for fraud protection. We'll talk much more in detail about fraud protection. And competitive ad tools. And that's actually a little bit of a plug for our own tool. We found that we needed this, so we developed our own SaaS tool, PPC Review, which actually shows you what competition is doing. So we use that for that. Justin, you've been spearheading the PPC Review stuff. You want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So one of the things that we've launched, it was kind of born out of necessity for us internally. What was this tool PPC Reveal? And the idea of this, it's a competitive intelligence, it's competitive intelligence software, kind of showing you who's advertising on Google. There's a lot of different ways that you can use it. You can use it as a way for prospecting, and you can also use it as a way to get an understanding of like how are people off, like what are the offers people are doing in your local markets. So really, the process is pretty simple. Instead of you having to go and try and find ways to search locally every hour of every day, that would take up a lot of your time and be a hassle. We built a tool that will do that for you. So you're able to find your real competition, who's actually spending money on Google and who's doing it effectively. You're able to see their ad copy and their actual landing pages without being like skeezy and like upping their clicks or anything like that. You're able to actually see what their full funnel looks like. And you're able to find, time segments with opportunity for cheap ads as well. So yeah, that's been, I guess it's a really simple tool. And one of the things that we do have a special offer for that. That's starting, we're actually announcing it to the entire list on Monday. It's kind of our Black Friday promotion, but since you're here and we do believe this is an essential tool for you to use when you're managing ads, you can get it for 50% off any of the plans for the lifetime of that plan. So I think that's, what at our lowest plan, you can get access to this for about like $29 a month. And so it's a really great tool for identifying your prospects and to really like showcase yourself as an expert. It's a tool we use internally for our partners. And in fact, if you're a partner, I know some of you are on here, you actually already have access to this. It's one of the perks of being a partner. So, but if you're not partnered with IPPC yet, or you're not really looking for a white label provider, but want to have some of the tools that we use that give us a competitive advantage, this is the thing that you'll want to be using, and you can get 50% off for life for as long as you remain a consistent subscriber, up until I think it's expiring on November 30th. So I'll make sure to have this in the email as well, so you can take advantage of this.
That date here offer is August 10th. I guess we got it.
Oh yeah, that's incorrect. That should have been, that's from an old slide. So I can update that so everybody sees it. Yeah, there it is, November 30th at midnight.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah,
cool.
With that, I think with the brief infomercial interruption there, we are back to a regularly scheduled program. That what do we do with Google Ads? So frequency. So how often do you need to look at Google Ads? So this is what we do. We have daily checks, we have weekly optimizations, and then we have a monthly reporting. And there are some more monthly activities we do beyond report. And you will see that list in a minute. And we have quarterly and 6 months optimizations. So that's the kind of schedule we follow. Important part is we do have daily checks. We do think a Google Ads account should be looked at daily. The number of activities which are done in daily is not that large. Weekly is probably the one which bulk of things happen on the weekly level. But there is certainly certain things which have to be done daily, right?
Yep.
So let's get into it. Daily checks. There will be, policy violations and limitations from Google coming back. Got to attend to that daily. This is a high-level summary. When we go through the checklist, you will actually see details on this. But I wanted to summarize on slides on a higher level. What is all this about? Anything we change an account, we check at history. It's possible, especially if somebody, more than one person is working on the account, then somebody made a change and you don't know about it and you're trying to analyze and things are off. You want to look at all the conversions which happened last day, and you want to look at all the converting terms, CPA, and there might be notes and requests from the clients for the day. So those need to be attended. So that's again, high-level summary. You will see in checklist exactly what we do. Weekly optimizations this is more about performance comparison, because you have spent a week now. So week over week is enough time to start seeing things, right? We also look for actual spam in the calls and form fills. We actually listen to the calls, right? So when we listen to the calls, we can kind of tell that what's happening, are they right kind or no? Every search query is reviewed. Is it relevant, not relevant? Should we add negatives? Should we, add more keywords? And of course, all the settings like bid strategies, keywords, got to be looked at, right? And we also do send, in our case, we found that it is good to update client weekly, what's going on. So that includes all the numbers and metrics and what happened this week, what changes we made, what we found. So there's a weekly report as well. And we did want to give as Justin was saying, we are kind of explaining and giving away exactly what we do. This is the format we use for our weekly update format. You guys have access to this, like you'll have exactly number of impressions, clicks, what happened, conversions, number of missed things. Then it has additional specific things, right? So this is you can just copy this template in case you're communicating with your clients. And we have gotten this, we instituted, it's been now maybe 5-6 months since we started doing the reporting in this format. And the feedback has been consistently from clients, this is great. Love to have this weekly in this format. So because in our case, we are a white label agency, so they are able to take this directly and send it to their clients, right? So just copy and paste from here and move to the next one. So yeah, so this is the weekly. So this is, the landing page testing gets its own sheet. And when we talk about strategy, we'll talk more about it. But really the idea is, if the conversion rate is low, then you got to do landing page testing. Otherwise, just do it quarterly, right? Quarterly, you still want to look at the landing page. But any point, if the conversion rate is low, you got to start working on your landing page. So this, in our case, it's not something which clients ask sometimes that, hey, are you going to try landing pages later after 1 month or 2? We will try it immediately, very soon, if the conversion rate is low. And we call conversion rate low as, if it is not double digit, then it is low. And if you guys attended the webinar last time, you probably remember, our pages do get 40% and up. Not all of them, but a lot of them get that high conversion rates. Almost 1 in 2 is converting. And that's only possible by testing ongoing. So if it is not double digit, you'll immediately start working on it to get the conversion rate of double digit. So
Avi, I got one question coming in, and especially since we were talking about, daily checks, weekly checks, and what that looks like. One of the questions that we got from Andrew was, what do you do during if on a daily check or a weekly check that you're seeing lots of spam calls? How do you report on that, and then how do you react to it?
Got a whole slide.
Perfect.
We got a whole slide
Perfect.
on it. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get into that very shortly, Andrew.
Yeah. It's actually not very shortly. It's almost at the end because I covered the spam. Exactly. But yes, we'll get to that for sure. So written report goes out, key metrics, strategies implemented in the month. And this is one of the other things, right? That we have a mandatory monthly sync up meeting with clients. Our clients are required to meet us. If they don't meet us after 1 or 2 months, we probably don't want them as clients. Because what we found is that, especially as a white label agency, even if everything is working, if they don't meet us and if we cannot tell them and what things we are doing and others, they will ignore certain things and not pass on to their clients. And eventually that account will fail. It's kind of almost guaranteed to fail especially in a white label situation when we're not talking to the end client. But I think it applies to agency. As an agency also, you do need to talk to your client consistently. Some clients, of course, they want more communication. But many clients, if everything is working, they don't want to meet you. We highly recommend at least once a month meet your client. This, I think the monthly report, I'm not going to go through the format, but the link is there for when you guys get this, right? And we'll send it, right? Unless somebody's really interested. Anybody really interested in seeing a monthly report format?
So far, no one's that excited about it, but I'm sure they will be when they see it. We got one that said yes, but we'll move through it.
Okay, so there is more. Okay, so let's do it then, right? So
you're in DocSend, so you have to throw that in.
Yeah. So reporting period, executive summary. This is an example, but this is usually enough for the clients to get happy. How much you spend, what you got for it. Then we do include a client action items, whatever they need to do, leads breakdown, how did they get the leads. We do have a custom live reporting dashboard, which is always live. They can go and check, right? Where is the budget? Where is the target CPA? And overall the highlights for the period. We include a spreadsheet which has keywords that got clicked, search terms, and keywords, because there's a bunch of reasons. As a white label agency, even more so important that we, and even as a agency, you got to tell your clients that what keywords, what search terms. What if you are advertising for a plumbing company and they don't do, say it's septic. Say they don't do septic, and you're getting a lot of septic clicks, and they might be in the call saying, oh, sorry, we don't do septic. So by adding those keywords where they're getting clicks, when they see it, they will know, oh, we got all the septic calls. We don't want those septic calls. So it's important to record this and pass it on to your clients, right? So that's the report. We also include a click fraud report, actually saying how much we saved on click fraud during the month by using our system, which we use ClickSees and a few other things in-house. All right, I'm going to switch back. Okay, great. So that gives you a sample of what this is. Quarterly optimization. So seasonality becomes important here, competition, and we look at performance data comparison for last 90 days. Non-performing ad copies get changed quite a lot at quarterly, but they'll get changed if they're not performing even earlier. But definitely we look at, which one is really high performing, and we label them. You'll see details on this. If I'm glossing over, it's because there is a checklist, a very detailed checklist, which you will have access to, in which it's line by line. This is more of a summary of what things get covered. And implement new test copies get implemented. So quarterly is when big changes happen. At 6 months also, there are changes. Like that's the time you want to look at the whole thing. It's almost like you're setting up ads again. You're going to look at the demographics all over again. Seasonality applies again because it's 6 months now. Quarter has passed. Competition, what's going on? You do want to check that your conversion tracking again is working correctly. It's possible something went wrong there and things are not there. And this is a good time. Actually, at a quarter is probably still okay time. As long as you start hitting, in our checklist, I think we say at quarter, start checking for once you hit 1K clicks. At that point, it's great time to start omni-channel retargeting, right? I'm not going to click this time 6 months roadmap document. It's a very long document, but you can have access to that. It's available from us. That what do we do in 6 months period, right? And this is Chin, our operations CEO. She's the one who came up with this document, and that has been very helpful in explaining to the clients that what happens over 6 months. All right. Communications. So this is, we feel this is so important that it has its own slide. It's not, it's part of management. Is that the way we feel, right? In our case, we include live reporting, weekly updates, monthly reporting, monthly sync-up calls, and communication as need basis. And also, very important part of the communication, all budget changes, they cannot be done on phone or text messages. They have to be written approved, because it's not uncommon to clients to forget, or they could be misunderstanding what they want the budget to be changed. It's money here, right? So you want this in writing. So this is kind of a six-fold things to remember, or 6 points to remember when communicating. This is what we do. They can always look at the live report anytime, but otherwise they will get updates from us, right? So hopefully it'll help you guys in case setting up your communication cadence. So we are ready for going through the 78-point Google Ads management checklist at this point. And let's start. So we broke it down by frequency. So right now we're doing week 1. So even though we talk about weekly, but week 1 is special, right? Because the ads just got set up. So there are certain things which got to be done on the week 1, right? For example, is ad spend you set up, is it working? Our metrics, this is the first time you're going to be seeing the numbers, right? Are you even getting impressions? But sometimes Google will take 2 to 3 days to start giving you impressions. So if you're not even getting impressions and you're just kind of waiting, clicks will not happen if the impressions are not happening, right? And this does happen. It sometimes might take that long, especially if you put big budget and if you make big changes suddenly in first 2 days. So that's one of the things. You set up the ads and client says, no, I want to change this. And you immediately 2 days later change something majorly, you will not get impressions. and a week might pass. So initially, you want to make minimal changes and let the things come in, and then start making incremental changes, right? So observation audience is applied correctly, and any audience exclusions are applied. You will see about one of the things for spam reduction is audience exclusion. That works well. And when we talk about spam, we'll get to that. Any accidental observations, you might find, oh, I'm getting conversions from here. Other accidental observation could be you're competing with something teeth whitening. It turns out you're competing with Amazon because you are a local dentist who thinks, oh, my competition is other dentists for teeth whitening. But Amazon is putting money in there because there are products for teeth whitening. And Amazon has a lot more money. So the ads could be very expensive. So that will be what I'll call accidental observation. As you start saying, you'll see, oh, your competition is also Amazon, not local dentists. So you've got to change something. You've got to add something by local dentists or something. So that will change. Otherwise, you will be paying quite a lot for ads because of that competition. Anytime a big company like that is also advertising for same keywords, you got to really manage that properly. And that will start showing up in the first week. And you got to also check that, hey, we are not getting any of the search queries, which we should not have gotten. That means maybe the negative keyword list is not correct. So in our case, when we say negative keyword list, if you're starting out a brand new ad, probably you will not have a negative keyword list to start out. You will build it. In our case, all our smart niches, any of the niche local service businesses, we have negative keyword lists, with literally thousands of words, key phrases in there. So we start out immediately with some, because we have learned that certain things never convert. So we start with that, then we add daily. But if you're starting out new, you might be building the list as you go on. Okay. Daily checklist. Daily is, again, it's reasonable size like the week 1. So quite a few here still. This is intentionally left as a checklist. It is a common, the first one. Do not look at today's data ever. Because today's data, the conversions will not be there. In fact, some conversions might take 72 hours. So the maximum you want to look at is the yesterday's data, or the earliest, the latest data you want is yesterday's data. So just ignore today's data whenever you're doing anything daily. Just look up to yesterday. This cannot be emphasized enough, because you could have anomalies, something happening today, and the reporting is not complete. You'll get just wrong data. So we intentionally include that as a checklist to remind our ad specialists and account managers to don't do that. Look for changes in account history. Every day we check for this. Check every tracking and reporting. There should be clicks and things coming through, because it can break anytime, and that will be very dangerous later. You would have spent a lot of money. So by doing it daily, we can catch it daily basis. Any anomaly of any kind. And if the week is less than the account is less than 4 weeks old, then we also perform all weekly checks daily. And when you see the weekly checklist, you will realize that first month must be really busy, because weekly checklist is actually almost triple the size of this. So the first 4 weeks, we're going to do daily, every weekly checklist, because things just started, right? We are shooting for a quality score of 7+. So we kind of keep looking at that and seeing whatever we can do that. We use a lot of scripts behind the scenes, and we don't want any scripts, any error, right? These scripts are the one which actually manage budget, give us warnings, give us no impressions warning, no click warnings, and things like that, which allow us beyond checking daily to be able to know immediately if something is not working. So we actually check the scripts also, that they did not misfire. Of course, the search term is a big deal. Every day there'll be some search term which converted. Are they relevant? The example I was talking about, the septic service for a plumber who does not do septic, right? Policy violations and disapprovals is obvious. So as I said, this list is 3 or 4 times. So in fact, it shrunk. So it's giving a wrong impression. It's actually longer than the other ones. This is smaller size font here. So lot of things in this one. Time-wise, we have half an hour. There is a strategy part I want to spend on, so I will not read item by item. I'm going to just highlight here a few of them. One of them you'll notice here is, I think, fourth or fifth. Use Avi's weekly strategy optimization system. Of course, Avi's me. So what we have done is we found that beyond actually mechanical checking, there are some CPA to CPC to conversion rate optimization process we can use, which we have developed in-house. This we kind of implemented this now almost 2 years back. And we found that beyond doing mechanical checks, it's very, very important to actually look at strategically what is happening on the account. And those can make a bigger difference than smaller checks. So that's, I will talk about that actually with examples, that what that is, because that's more involved than one line actually, how that is done. We do call and form fill audits weekly, important. We listen to every call, every form, look at every form. That tells us that what's going on with the spam. Are these even relevant leads, right? It's very important to do that, right? And let me see, what is the, I'm looking for highlighting. Yeah, other thing is important is that we label keywords. The keywords we use extensively, the ads and keywords are, we label ads right from the beginning. Then we'll label ads if they're performing well. So you'll be, after a few weeks, you'll start seeing if some ads are performing well and you want to keep them forever. You want to label them with winner or something. And that's one of the things which I'm highlighting, the things which might be non-traditional and people might have not thought of. And a lot of this is by using scripts, like remove duplicate keywords can be done with scripts, but it is still done. And okay, I'm going to move on because we will not be done otherwise. Justin, if it is okay, I'm going to move to the next slide.
There you go for it.
Yeah, so bid management is important. So bid management happens weekly. So it is manual bidding or automatic bidding. Those are the kind of changes we look at weekly. Any of the adjustments for locations, for devices, for audiences, for schedule, that happens weekly also. And schedule is a overlooked optimization because it seems people think it is hard. So I want to give a very specific example that how schedule can make a very important difference. So your client, first thing in the schedule is, don't run your ads 24/7. If your client is going to be, if the client is primarily gets leads through phone calls and they work only 8 to 5 on weekdays. This seems to be not rocket science, straightforward, but we have seen it so common when we have taken over accounts that people are running ads all the time and the rest of the calls were just kind of lost, or the forms on the weekend were there, right? So that's one. Other part is, even if they're running ads 24, if they are available and answering calls 24/7, especially if they are answering calls 24/7, there might be times where ads are really cheap. So you want to increase the budget during that time. And here is a thing which we, after running a lot of ads, we have observed that you would expect 8 to 5 when everybody's answering phones to be the most, everything happening. But that's the time the ads are very expensive. Evening after 5 p.m., people still call. And there are a lot of calls. In fact, many people, because they get home from work, they call, and ads are actually cheaper. If you do have somebody answering calls, it might be wise to move the budget more for the evening than keeping it in the day when everybody's competing. And you can get, much higher number of leads for the same amount of money. And I'm talking about a difference of sometimes 2x in some campaigns. So that's why that's the ad schedule one is very important there. So also working with geo is kind of important in trying out different geos which are converting better, because usually most of the local service ads, they include multiple small geos. And also including sometimes client is able to tell you that, hey, that zip code or that area, we just never get good deals. Exclude or reduce budget there. Versus here, it's a better deal in service business. So you can kind of use that. And in our case, we track how much, when we work as agency with client, we track how much money they made from the ads. So truly get a ROAS for them. And that is impacted heavily by how you optimize for geos and ad schedules beyond CPA, right? How much money they actually made, right? So, okay, I'm going to move to the monthly is right. Monthly. Monthly is where, in addition to the monthly list which goes out, this is the time to look for ad rotation, looking for a little bit of the bigger things because 4 weeks have passed, right? Other aspect of monthly is this is the calendar month monthly. This is not a 4-week monthly. And budgets are always managed monthly for the month. So any budget related things should be looked at monthly. Other aspect is there is a lot of reset which happens every month. You'll see a lot of here, reset demographics, reset bid modifiers. Because for the month as thing was progressing with that budget, the way we were managing, there were things we would have changed. And then your fresh month starts, you've got to reset that to whatever was the standard you want to do. So there's a lot of resetting happening at that point, right? So it's a just think of monthly as because it does not follow the good weekly boundary from Sunday to Saturday. The month will happen somewhere in the middle. So there is the overlap in reporting. In fact, our weekly and monthly reports, there might be a month when you get a weekly report, and right after that you get a monthly report because depending on where you were on the week cycle versus month. And we treat it intentionally separate because a lot of numbers clients want to see monthly in spite of whatever you're tracking weekly. So there's a difference there versus in weekly, what you do on the weekly, week-to-week basis versus month-to-month basis. Okay, we have done that. Now we're gonna be talking about, yes. So now that line which I was talking about strategic, so one of the major aspects we use to improve performance of the ads is the strategic way of looking at accounts. Before we do that, I want us to be clear that what are the big things which is the big hammer, which numbers, which metrics are most important we will be looking for. So cost per acquisition, in this case, acquisition is defined. Almost all of these lead ads is defined by a form fill or a phone call. So one of the two things. It could be slightly different depending on the situation, but somewhere you got to define the cost per acquisition because that's a target we're trying to increase, get. Cost per click is the intermediary indicator of what's happening. It's still important. Ad budget is overall what you're going to spend for the month. So these are important things to know as you get into figuring out how to work with them. So this one will take some explanation to explain to you that. So what we try to do is that think of it as a flow chart. That first thing is look, and I'm going to walk you through the flow chart, and I'll go backwards and forwards a few times so you guys get this, that what we're trying to do. So initially, first thing you want to make sure is your ad type matches the marketing goals. If you're doing lead ads, you've got to be search ads, and all those things have to be matched. If they're not, you just kind of start the campaign all over again, reset everything. So I'm not going to get into that. That's a setting thing, but it's important. We see it so often when managing that they were not set. In fact, at InvisiblePPC, we rarely, if ever, Justin, take on management without actually doing the setup. And that's the reason.
Yeah.
Because the setup is so off that if we take over management, we find, oh, the setup was all wrong. So we got to do that anyway, right? So it's here, all I'm saying is that if you're managing, check it, right? And that it's correct. Otherwise, start from scratch, basically.
Yeah.
First thing to look for is, so this is a top-down approach or bottom-up approach. I don't know which way to talk about it, but it is definitely an approach which goes systematically in a logical fashion. Is CPA on target? In some ways, if the target CPA was $50 and you're getting all your leads at $40, and let's for a minute assume there's no spam in the leads and they're good leads, then you're good, right? Everything is fine, nothing to do. So CPA does become the final metric, right? Final arbitrator or what's happening or not in Google Ads. So if CPA is on target, then just kind of okay, but this is what you could do if CPA is on target. So if the CPA was 50, you're getting at 40, ask the client, do you need more leads? Increase the budget, right? Now, thing you should not do is tell the client, hey, if you double the budget, you'll get double the leads. You will not.
That'd be the biggest mistake.
Okay. Yeah, it is absolutely a diminishing return. and it does become, it's a curve, and it's kind of becomes exponential as you reach when you saturate the market at that point. So, but if you're not saturating the market, yes, you could slowly increase the budget, assuming client is interested in more leads, right? If they have capacity. So that's what you can do, because everything is working great there. Now, if it is not, CPA is not correct, check if the cost per click is within target. If cost per click is not within target, then we kind of know the problem is. So I'm going to ask maybe not a trick question, but it's a question definitely important. So your cost per click is too high. What can you do to your landing page to make it better? It's a question. Anybody wants to take a stab at it?
You want to repeat it one more time while we let people put their answers in?
So your cost per click is very high. What is one thing you can do to your landing page which will make your cost per click get better, or two things or whatever? What could you do to landing page to drop your cost per click?
We have Ryan saying make it more relevant. Yeah, another improve relevance, include targeting keywords. Someone mentioning longer tail keywords.
So those are great, but I was asking especially what you could do to the landing page. So it's a trick question. So the things which you talked about, the keywords and all, is great. There's less option fields are great, but really cost per click has nothing to do with, and there is something, I'm not lying if I say there's nothing to do with it. They have not clicked. So they have not seen your landing page. They are not making a decision based on they are making a decision based on looking at your ad. They didn't like the ad, it didn't resonate, the keyword targeting was not right. So the landing page doesn't matter. Now, there is a little bit more subtle detail in there, right? Yes, improved ad copy is correct. So because it's a click, so the thing you got to remember is a user sees an ad. First thing they will see is the ad. They're going to read the ad, they will decide to click on it. They have not seen your landing page. They're going to decide based on your ad. And in the marketing terms, as we say, is that every step is a promise which you deliver on the next step. The ad is a promise that, hey, you type that keyword, I can solve that problem for you. Then the landing page is the next step after they click. The landing page says, yes, I can really do it. Here's the proof. This is how we can do it. Here is the testimonial. Here's the thing. So that's the promise. And then finally you sign them up and then you deliver on the product, right? Or service. So they have not seen the landing page. Now let's get a little bit more subtle. Why it does matter a little bit. The landing page copy to drop your cost per click. So there was something there earlier for relevance. So basically Google does not want clickbait. So your ad copies ranking will go down. If you're clicking, you show them the ad and you are showing an ad for plumber and you are electrician, their landing page is connected to electrician. So your ad quality will go down a little bit for sure. So that is there. But the big part to remember is don't try to fix the landing page first if your cost per click is very high. Focus on other things. And what other things? So if cost per click is very high, then work on optimize within target. Okay, so looking at my own graph and said, no. So cost per click is not on target, no. Improve ad copy, check targeting. Those are the general things, right? So you might be targeting those keywords to the wrong people. They come to the ad, they don't want to click because they were not the right people to see the ad. You delivered to the wrong people. And improve the ad copy to make it, there are a lot of things about ad copy, what can be done. But one thing I want to emphasize is, unless you are a Nike, Coca-Cola or somebody, your brand name is not what they came looking for.
Yeah,
they came looking for what is your service, what you can do for them. And so don't try to use your brand name on top in the headline just to tell them, right? Because they searched, they want a service done, use the headline to tell them that you can do this. Metal roof, I want metal roof replaced. I type metal roof, it should say metal roofing experts. If the headline is metal roofing experts, 30 years in business, they will click on that. If you say instead of that, Bob's roofing company, yeah, they'll probably click, but a lot lesser will click because they're looking for metal roof, right? Yep. So, but there is a lot more there. But improve that copy. and targeting to get the CPC down, right? If the CPC is on target, then conversion rate, because CPA is low, that means the conversion rate must be low. So in that situation, what are we going to do? Work on the landing page. So one easy, and this we have done in landing, I think we presented this right in landing page thing a few months back.
A couple months ago.
But a few months back. The one big thing you can remember in the landing page again is that this is so easily forgotten. If you can get the keyword which they typed in the first half, or basically when I say first half, above the fold, is the right technical term, then your chances of them filling that form or calling you is much higher than if you get that keyword which they were looking for. Again, metal roof. If you are a roofing company, you talk about everything roofing, but the metal roof does not show up in the top half, then you lose quite a lot of people will not fill the form. They'll just go to somebody else who shows metal roof. They work on the metal roof also, right?
Yeah, you need to make sure, like, whenever you're looking at the overall funnel between the keyword, like the keywords that trigger the ad, you want to make sure that the keywords are going to be somewhat in that ad, and there's the promise that's made. And then when you're going to the page, you want to be reiterating the kind of what they clicked on as fast as possible. A lot of the landing page, a lot of the initial work is reminding them they're in the right place, right? So if they don't see kind of what they initially, typed in, like up, like right in their face, they're not really going to search for it. They're just going to click back and go to the next ad. We actually, and I'm sorry for jumping in, it just reminded me when you were talking about this is literally the framework even before I saw this flow chart that I use when I've been doing our YouTube videos that are local service business funnel audits that I use, utilizing like PPC reveal and walking through from the keywords to add to landing page. I'll drop one in the chat. They're pretty long, everybody, so just be ready for that. But I think it'd be worth watching because you can kind of see this in action without, like, from the front end. So you can kind of get what I can connect what Avi's talking about from, like, kind of the back end management side of things.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna now we want to actually do scenarios. So this is what I was coming to, because there's a list, you have them, you'll have access to them. So this is a scenario of, again, remember that framework. CPA is high and CPC is also high. So we have intentionally put scenarios together, which is multiple situations, right? So this is actually from a screenshot. In fact, yeah. So if you look at the timing there, it's like October, right? It's very recent. So this is not made up. This is actual client, actual situation, right? And this is our Google Data Studio or Google Looker Studio now dashboard, which we use. So target here is 270 cost per conversion. And, cost per conversion is almost 600 there, right? Very high, very, very high. And then also the CPC in this case is 69.39, which based on when we say a high in this case, there's no target as such, but from our experience of knowing this, we know that's picking expensive CPC we are paying. So both are high. So if it is both is high, then you got to work on kind of both. But first, I will work on CPC part, right? Why? In this case, look at the conversion rate. It's 18.2%. It is already double digit. Of course, if you can get to 40% or so, it'll be great, but it's already double digit. So most likely places, if you can drop the CPC by 1/3 or so, you will end up being within target. Then once you have improved that, when you're getting the right kind of people coming in, and with much more people coming in, because basically when the CPC is high, what happens? That same dollar does not go as far. You get lesser clicks. You get lesser clicks, there is a lesser chance to optimize landing page. So it's not worthwhile to optimize landing page without actually getting more clicks. So follow the logic of like, okay, let's fix this, get more of them in, and then we can work on landing pages necessary. And it might be that when you start getting the right kind, you don't have to do anymore. The conversion jumps up. So is that making sense? So this scenario, okay. Let's do a other one. This is a more kind of a simple one, which we had in the flow diagram there. CPA is high, CPC is within target, right? So cost per click is within target. Everything seems to be okay. It's only $2.39, not too bad at all. But CPA is high. So remember, landing page. Why? Other way you can know it is landing page. Look at the conversion rate, 0.8%. Remember what I was saying, we want double digit. So if you, in this case, target is 110 and we're getting 200 or so. So if we actually get 10% conversion rate, we will probably end up at $20 or so cost per conversion, right? If you do quick math there, it'll just end up close to, $12 or so. And that's all you need to do at that point. So here, the landing page is a problem. And it could be because of the keyword which is coming in, it's not shown on the top half and things like that. Again, this is a very, very recent actual account, right? So this is not a made up scenario actually happening, right? There. Okay. I'm going to move to the next one. So this is a click-through rate is low. So click-through rate is low. So based on the earlier way of thinking, so what's happening? What is not resonating? Ads are not resonating. So you might have a keyword which brings them to the impression is shown by Google because of the keyword. But what you're selling in the ad does not match. So it could be you're choosing wrong keywords. They're not exact enough for your business, or your ad copy is not resonating. It has to be one of the two. Right? So you need to look at both of those in this situation to get that and getting better. Of course, in this situation, if you look at the conversion rate is very low, but again, I would not worry about that first because you want to get more traffic in before you start deciding what's going to happen next. Yeah, this one is a budget is low and impressions are low. So this is a scenario where we look at the cost per conversion, it's $400. And we forgot to put the budget here. I thought we added, but I think it disappeared. I think the budget is 1,000. Is Raj, you're online? Remember the budget on this one? Was it 1,000? So I think it was 1,000. So we forgot to type it on there. So if it was 1,000, so the big problem here is that with that few impressions, there is nothing you can optimize because cost per conversion is 400. So you're going to get only 2 conversions per month, right? So you need a lot more budget to get more conversions to optimize. Thank you, Raj. So it was $1,000 a month. So in this case, the situation is that you got to go back to client and say, I know you're not getting much, but the reality is you need to spend because your target is 400. You got to spend more for us to optimize. And this is one of the situations where they say, but we really want to spend only 1,000 a month. Tell them, oh, that's fine. You got to spend 2,000 to 3,000 a month in the beginning. It's backwards. Unlike people think that we start with low and then you can increase the budget. You got to spend more upfront, get it optimized, then you could back off. Because enough traffic would have gone through, enough clicks would have happened, enough conversions would have happened, then you can drop the budget, right? So for optimization requires actual clicks, actual conversions. This is sometimes hard to explain to clients. But if they don't get that and don't allow you that to do that, then they will have to wait 6 to 9 months or a year before they get enough clicks. And I'm sure they will not wait that long because they'll just say basically, hey, I'm not getting conversions, right? So as a result, if you notice, there's hardly any conversions later, right? Because you cannot optimize anything, okay? Yeah, this one has the budget on it. Right. So that's what I was saying. We missed typing on the other one. So the budget is 2,000 per month in this case. And target CPA is high. So this is actually very similar to the last CPA. This thing, same logic applies. That $830, you have 2,000, you're going to get 2 conversions. So it's nothing about impressions. Irrespective of impressions, you're too low a budget for, you'll just basically barely get 2 conversions, right? Not enough conversions to optimize. So more simpler case of the last one, actually. So
and I think that's an important thing, like early on, like when you're talking with clients, and then they're trying to set a budget with them. That's why when you work with us, like we share like, hey, here's what the recommended budget is. And we do tell you like what the absolute floor is, but the absolute floor budget generally isn't your best starting point. And I think this is a really clear-cut case where they're saying, hey, I'm willing to spend, like, we're happy if we're getting leads for $830, but we only want to spend $2K. you're never going to be able, like, you're never going to be able to build up enough data. And it should be easier enough for you to explain. We're saying, hey, if you're only spending 2K in a very competitive market, knowing that your cost per lead is going to be upwards of $800, like, you need to be, like, you're never going to be able to be competitive in the space. You're in an auction and you're bidding for the space here. And at that level, you just won't be able to be competitive with that level of spend. So you want to make sure early on that the client understands this. This isn't a, hey, I'm going to put in lowest table stakes as humanly possible and then get results that you're looking for. That's just not how the platform works. But yeah, I really like how this one hammers that home.
Yeah. The other way you could look at this as a problem is, look at the number of clicks here is 116. This is in this whole period. It's almost like 2 months period, right? So that's all you have to optimize from, 116 clicks, right? So it's too few. It's going to take a long time to accumulate enough clicks. Then, of course, conversion is even worse. Right? All right, I've got a question here. So this example, there are no conversions. By looking at this graph, who wants to take a stab at what is cost per conversion? I'll make it interactive. Come on, guys. You didn't expect a quiz. Not enough data. Yep. Okay. What else? Anybody else wants to take a stab at this? What is the cost per conversion? So there is a 428. It's a good answer, good guess. There are no conversions. Yeah. So Ryan, you're close to right there for sure. I mean, this is a kind of a rhetorical question, right? There's no conversions. What does it mean? So mathematically, it's infinite, actually, right? We don't know the upper bound. What, right? So there's no upper bound. We don't know. All we know, we spent $428 and we did not get a single conversion. So it's definitely higher than 428, right? Where will it end up? We don't know. So you could say it's more than 428, or mathematically you'll say it's right now it's infinite. We don't know where it'll end up, right? Because you spend the money, keep spending the money, zero conversions, right? The reason this is relevant is sometimes if you're doing scripts and automations which calculate cost per conversion, those scripts and conversions start failing with this zero thing. So you got to do this exception. In fact, the script which we have our sheet, and I had to do that to put this exception that put something there. So 428 will be a good number for now if you are not doing anything else, to say it's more than 428, right? At least 428, even if you got one. All right. Great, guys. Okay, we promised spam covering. I have a minute to go through spam. In fact, this might be the second last slide. So if you guys can hang on, I can cover this in 5 minutes or less. So all leads are not created equal. We know that there is spam, and then clients will say, I'm not getting leads. The conversions are useless, right? So this is the categorization of spam and how to deal with it. So there is malicious, click fraud spam. So for that, we use ClickCs. Also, we have our own internal list of IPs we found which are spammy. So we use them as blocked. So combination of that works for us, right? In fact, we have a blog article. If you check out, you'll find those list IPs. You can copy them from there. The other one is, it's really not technically a spam, but as far as a lead generation company like plumbing, they're going to be upset if most of the calls are people asking for, get hired versus they want jobs, right? So in that situation, and this occurs quite often, by the way, quite often. So what do you do in that situation? And how does it occur, by the way? It's simple. If I am a plumbing tech, I'm going to type plumbing companies near me. Then I'll find their phone number, then I'll start calling them, right, for a job. So that's how it happens. So it's legit request, but it's the kind which our end client does not want to pay for. They don't want to deal with this. So there is a exclude audience type for job type they're searching for. You can exclude that audience type. This does help. Other thing we have found is switch off the partner network. If you're using a search partner network, that seems to bring a lot of spam because that goes all over the place. It's not true search. So we find that that helps also. But you got to be careful when you switch it off. You got to measure you will lose some good leads also that way. You got to measure the difference between the two and then switch it off. You could add company and companies, because usually plumber near me is more common than plumbing companies, right? In Detroit, or plumbing companies in Chicago. That's usually typed by people who are searching for a job. You can do, but again, you got to measure this before you do negative, because there will be some people who search for those, and it's a trade-off, right? But this definitely helps. For Spanish leads on English ads, so this is what we do. We have custom code on all our forms, at least. On phone calls, we cannot do much, but on forms, when they submit, basically the submit button does not work. It shows up a box on top, says, hey, English only, please. So we can detect the language and reject any other language but English. So this only, Spanish is the one we see more, but this can be used to block out any non-English things being entered. Of course, if you're in France, you might not block out English and others, right? So I'm just talking specifically US-centric experience here, but same concept can be applied. So there's Java code in there in our forms. Yeah, big part here, right? Don't just go blindly and apply all these, because you might lose some good leads too. Make it a measurement by switching off and on. That's how many good leads you lost, but overall the spam completely died, and that was worth it or not, right? It's a trade-off. You got to do that. Right?
Yeah. So Avi, one quick question there that we got that kind of fell into this that we didn't quite qualify there. Like, what happens if they're getting leads, but they're people expecting to be for it's wrong business leads, right? They're getting calls expecting it to be a different business, because
yeah, absolutely. That's great.
That.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. So what we do is we add a negative keywords ongoing basis for all other businesses. That's how that is dealt with. Usually the way that happens is, I'll tell you exactly how it happens. So somebody types ABC plumbing. Your Google ad shows up on top. Most people don't look at it. It's an ad. They see your call extension. 90% of this occurs through call extension. People just call the first number on the Google ad, which is your number. 90% of this occurs again on call extension. So they just say they search for ABC plumbing. They saw your ad. They assume now Google is showing you the phone number, and they call your number. And they were calling ABC, you are XYZ plumbing. And that's what happens. Of course, if you have good salespeople, you could probably try to convert some of them by telling them, hey, we are a plumbing company too. Let's do it. In fact, some of our clients do want wrong company ads, intentionally targeting, right? So that's possible too, but a lot of them don't want to deal with it. The answer is you take all the ABC and all the plumbers, make them negative keywords. So if somebody's searching for ABC plumbing, your ad will not show up and your thing will disappear. This exact problem will be solved always exactly that way. Always works, that one. Thank you for asking that question. Maybe we should, it's not technically spam, but yeah, wrongly say it's a good question. So now overall ads management. The big thing is there's a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and 6 months things. You got to really do this, right? And checklist is very useful to prevent missing anything, right? I keep pushing checklists, and the example I use with the team, and they're tired of this, is that saying, hey, even if you're a pilot on an airplane for 30 years, you're required to mark everything on checklist. So I've done some flying, and I was doing that. One of the things was you cannot freaking get in the plane to fly it without actually going through the checklist. There, it's a life and death question. So what we found is that even for Google Ads, you can do really well, or any kind of marketing stuff. Checklists really, really help, right? So use a checklist, right? You got ours. You could build more. You could get better at that, right? That other one is, this one is the one which I was going through, cause and effect approach of finding performance issues. Instead of just going, oh, this setting is wrong, just looking at a button and doing it. Look at the overall. Usually this overall thing is what wins us. Like, it can convert a losing campaign to a winning campaign. And you could still have some setting wrong, things will be fine. Because that's this is the big hammers, right? CPA, CPC, what's happening? Where can you change? The landing page, copy, those things matter much more, right? And of course, got to communicate to your client. Even if things are not working, you got to communicate, right? So yeah, it's a science. And in fact, if you talk to me, I will say everything is a science. There's no art. Even art is in science. But generally, definitely Google Ads is It's science, right? So you got to practice. It's not any black magic or anything. You cannot, right? So, okay. I think we're back to this Black Friday offer.
Yeah.
Closing
Thank
page.
you for everybody that stuck around with us, and for dealing with my infomercial earlier. But because you did come here to learn a little bit about how we do everything on the Google Ads side of things, we wanted to make sure that you got a little early action from our Black Friday offer. So if you are interested in doing anything with in terms of the Google Ad space and trying to find more prospects who are already advertising on Google or trying to get an edge on some of your campaigns, you should definitely check out PPC Reveal. And every plan is 50% off for as long as you remain a customer. So give it a shot, give it a try, and hoping to get some feedback from you all as well. So yeah, that's all we got for you.